Hi. The effect of COVID-19 pandemic has been extremely difficult for the global aviation industry. The damage is on a scale we have not witnessed in the past. It touched every part of this industry without exception. Governments, global institutions such as ICAO, IATA, and ACI are working together in assisting the industry minimize the damage, especially the loss of millions of jobs. Today, I'm honored to discuss this crisis and the industry's future with my friend and one of the most distinguished leaders of this important industry, Dr. Benard Aliu. Dr. Aliu is the former president of the Council of the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, from 2014 until 2019. He was the fifth to hold that important position. Among many notable accomplishments at ICAO, Dr. Aliu is widely recognized for his leadership in forging global consensus on the Corsica MBM at ICAO's 39th Assembly in 2016. He also helped to refocus ICAO on assistance and capacity building aspects of its mandate since taking office in 2014. Under the No Country Left Behind initiative, that was instrumental in helping many less fortunate countries achieve high level of aviation safety, security, and efficiency. Dr. Aliu holds a PhD in civil aviation engineering, and prior to serving as the president of the ICAO Council, he was the permanent representative of Nigeria at ICAO. Dr. Aliu has a distinguished career in aviation spanning over 30 years. He has held various leadership positions in his home country of Nigeria and played an active role in the advancement of aviation in Africa. Today, I will be asking Dr. Aliu some questions to help us make better sense of this crisis and where he thinks we are headed post-COVID-19. Let's get started. Okay, Dr. Aliu, it's really an honor to have you here on my YouTube channel. I'm glad to see that you're looking well and fit. And I just want to know, how are you coping with this pandemic? Are you staying at home most of the time, or you're working from home? What are you doing?
Well, like everyone else, we're following all the instructions of the public health authorities. It is important that we do that for our own safety and for the safety of others. So unless it is essentially important, of course, we try to hunker down at home and not go to places that much. So in essence, we're following the instructions, and I'm following the instructions myself because we want to live, right?
Of course, I agree with you, and especially it's cold outside in Montreal.
And it's cold outside. It's very cold outside.
Exactly. Well, I think we never thought for the past 30 years you were in this business. For the past many years in this business, I never thought we will be talking or discussing about such a huge issue that we have, like the pandemic, and we have never seen anything like this. So how do you compare it to what we have witnessed in 2011 and 2008 economic crisis?
Well, the 2008 crisis is economic. The difference, I think, is that then the companies were struggling, and people did not have disposable income, but people could interact, they could meet. So it was still possible to embark on travel. Those who had the means, they could still go on vacation. Businesses were still operating. As a matter of fact, there was effort to revitalize the economy then, and people were interacting, and all efforts were geared towards that. This time is different.
Yeah,
it's different. It's not an economic crisis, but the crisis, although by COVID-19, has led to economic crisis.
of course.
And it's really transformed the lives of the people. You cannot meet friends, you cannot have face-to-face meetings. Vacations are much more difficult. There are a lot of restrictions. So
Businesses
the
as well.
inability for people to meet together it's really been decimating, because we as human beings, we are social beings. We want to shake hands, we want to hug, we want to meet face to face, and we're not able to do that.
Yeah.
So it is really a situation of double jeopardy, public health crisis, and the resultant economic crisis. But it has been very, very, very impactful, mostly on our sector, on the aviation sector, on the air transport industry.
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right, Dr. Aliu. It's the medical issues and the pandemic have created all this economic crisis that we have never seen before, which is really hurt airlines all over the world, not just airlines, airports, airlines, ground handling. Everybody has been affected by this pandemic. I did a video just a month ago, and we talked about a lot of numbers, and the numbers, the losses are staggering. And you can see that probably about 80% of load factors are missing from most of the regions, and that translates into billions and billions of dollars in losses. Now, how do you think this crisis is going to affect the industry in the long term? I mean, okay, we all have the vaccines now. We all know it's going to take a very long time to vaccinate everybody and to get back to anything representing normal pre-COVID-19. But I am sure that it's going to take time. And on top of that, how much additional time is it going to take for airlines and airports and the aviation industry, the manufacturers, the OEMs, to really get back to normal?
I think it's going to take longer than expected and anticipated. You will see many projections by the industry a little bit optimistic, because that is the expectation, that things should get back to normal. But I think there will be some residual impact for a long time, even if the load factor suddenly changes and we getting more passengers and the industry picks up. But there will be a residual impact that results from this. For one, the lifestyle of people have changed.
Right.
Many people had to adapt. Right now, we're conducting this interview remotely.
Right.
A lot of companies are working remotely.
Okay.
People have gotten used to working remotely. While there is still the need for human interaction, I think for some time, many organizations, many companies will continue this style of work. There are other things you don't. E-commerce now has become a very important aspect of the lives of people. Before, people could go to the malls and for shopping. Now, a lot of people who normally would not do that are getting used to the need to order their goods and products online, for example.
Absolutely. And as you know, business travel makes up more than 50% of any airline revenue.
Yes.
So if the business traveler refrain from traveling, that is going to be a big problem for airlines, even if tourism gets back to near normal.
And in terms of even tourism, the pattern of travel, a lot of people now are visiting the tourist attractions that are within their country, rather than taking very long haul connecting flights to destinations abroad. Why? Because there's just so many restrictions, which are not harmonized, that are placed by different governments to protect their country from the influx of incoming passengers from other places. And it may take some time before those rules are harmonized. So the comfort for the passengers to fly very long distances, people are concerned about that, about their health, about the challenges they may face at destination airports.
And using hubs and what have you.
And the hubs and all that. So even the pattern of tourism for some time may be different. People may go to nearby destinations. That will have an impact in the pattern of
Speaking of hubs, I think pre-COVID-19 and during your days at ICAO, a lot of the manufacturers were scrapping the big aircrafts like the A380s and the A747s. They're stopping manufacturing that, and they were concentrating on the 787, 777X, and what have you. These long-range, extra long-range aircrafts. Okay, and we saw maybe signs that the hub and spoke system, especially the international hub and spoke system, was really going to change. And people prefer to go from point to point instead of going through a hub. Do you think that this is going to be accelerated post-COVID-19?
I think the hubs will still be there because they help to facilitate connection, because on the international scale, it is perhaps will remain difficult to have all the point-to-point flights facilitated, because airlines may not be able to have that large network. And all the alliances and the support and the working together of the airlines helps the hubs also to continue to thrive. So I do not think that we will suddenly see the hubs disappear.
Yeah.
No.
Well, that's good news for some of the hub operators around the world.
Yes, I do not see that they will suddenly disappear. But the business model of the airlines may have to be reviewed, and they will change, depending on how the various airlines have been impacted by the current crisis.
During your tenure at ICAO, you were, your leadership and your capabilities really brought together almost 185 countries to sign up for Corsica MBM. What do you think is going to happen to that post-COVID-19? Is the world gonna really continue with that direction post-COVID-19, especially because of financial issues? What do you think?
But I should hope so. Because I felt that was an historic achievement.
Yes.
It was a bold statement from the aviation industry to contribute to the issues of climate change. That we as an industry understand our role, our responsibility to help humanity to address the issues of climate change and reduce the emissions arising from our industry. However, I will agree with you to some extent that with the COVID-19, there's been an indirect impact in the sense that there are less flights, okay, and accordingly, less emission.
Right.
And this is not only in the air, since the economy of countries are down, you immediately find that there is less pollution. But, well, is that sufficient? Should that be a justification? No, certainly not. We want the industry to grow, and we want it to return back to its normal path of growth, but in a sustainable manner. So I believe COSIA still has a very important role to play in limiting the emissions and the impact of the growth of our industry, which we expect that should take place immediately. But having said that, please, we should also remember that COSIA is one of the elements that we promoted to address climate change. We talked then about a basket of measures. So there are technical efforts, other technical efforts measures being implemented to address climate change. For example, for the first time, again, historically, we ensure that the aircraft that are going to be produced, that are being produced now, will have to meet some certification standards in terms of the amount of emissions that they are permitted to do. That in itself enforces that the aircraft manufacturers have to look for innovative systems to make the aircraft engine to be more fuel efficient.
Which you can't roll back now. You cannot roll back now. They are so
You can't roll that back.
Yes. Yes.
We've improved on the air navigation systems to have more direct routing, which means, again, aircraft fly, planes fly more direct routing, and they burn less fuel for the entire segment of the flight. That is there. That will continue.
Right.
We focused a lot on the issue of sustainable aviation fuels, using fuels from different sources. So there's a lot of work going on, even for the fossil fuel to improve on its sustainability. But there are other biofuels that are also being looked at. And then there's been a lot of work in finding other means. So there's a lot of experimental work going on about solar-powered aircraft, electric-powered aircraft. There is even discussion with respect to the use of hydrogen to power planes. So progressively, we will see more and more of such new technologies being applied in order to reduce the emissions arising from air transport. We contribute only 1.3%, we used to contribute only 1.3% of the emissions, but even that, we felt we have to work very hard to bring it. So where there is the gap that cannot be addressed by technical measures, we put in place the market-based measure, which is the COSIA, to cover that gap. Let me also say something. The new generation of the youth really, really value issues of environment. And if our industry is supposed to remain sustainable in the long run and attract this incoming generation as passengers, and will depend on them, so we have to live up to our social responsibility to be seen to be not contributing to pollution and to climate change. They expect that. So notwithstanding what the indirect impact of COVID has been, we have to continue to promote the sustainability in civil aviation, in air transport.
I agree with you. And also now that President Biden has been elected, so that also put climate change in the forefront.
Yes.
as well.
Yes. Yes.
Also, the other program that you were instrumental in launching is the No Country Left Behind program, and that did a lot of good. I was witness to that, and also Saudi Arabia has contributed generously to that program as well. That you helped a lot of not so fortunate countries come out of issues, safety issues, security issues, and what have you, and move up to score better in the ICAO audits and what have you. So, where do you think that program is going, and how important is it now today, post COVID-19? Because I think aircrafts on the ground, no money, and so on, that have created a big mess around the world, and mainly also poorer countries and not so fortunate countries. So how could that program really be helping these countries?
Well, I really want to thank you, Captain Abdulhakim, my friend, for the role that Saudi Arabia played with respect to the No Country Left Behind. And I want to take this opportunity to express my appreciation to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and to His Majesty, the Custodian of the Two Holy Mosques. So for the contribution, generous contribution that was made to that program. The No Country Left Behind initiative was a cardinal program under my presidency in ICAO. And for good reason. We had a situation where there was differing level of implementation of our standards. And you'll find that some segment of our member states, several regions, were not able to meet up with the safety standards. And we needed to bring the accident rates down tremendously. We needed to enhance the level of implementation of aviation security. And we found out that the reason why states were facing challenges to implement was not because they did not have the political will. They do. They signed on to the Convention on International Civil Aviation, but they lacked the technical expertise to address those issues. So No Country Left Behind was aimed to help these states to address their challenges, and it became very, very successful thanks to the many donor states and the collaborative efforts that went into its implementation. And we saw a significant improvement in the implementation of the safety standards. As a matter of fact, for about 4 consecutive years in Africa, the region that had perhaps the worst in terms of statistics of aircraft accident, did not see one commercial accident until the Boeing 737 MAX accident by Ethiopia. And many of the states were scoring very high marks in the audits that were done, the assessment of their systems. And I was very proud of that. And it is all over. It's in Asia, Asia Pacific, in the Middle East, in Africa, generally all over the place.
Well, I'm very glad to hear that, and I hope it continues from here as well.
That is my hope that it continues. Why? Because it is important for the whole of the world. Even where you are doing well in your state, your citizens travel all over the world on different airplanes, land in different airports, and they should be free to visit many countries for vacation and expect the same level of safety, security, and efficiency wherever they go to. So it is in our collective desire and objective that all the states at every region should implement the same level of safety. I always tell my friends that if McDonald's can guarantee the same quality of hamburgers everywhere you go to, we in the aviation sector should be able to guarantee the same level of high standard of safety and security. Now, with the current challenges, the COVID-19 had significant impact on the bottom line of airlines. We have to be careful that airlines don't cut corners, that training continue, people continue to meet up with their safety obligations. These are expensive things. And to be able to undertake the recovery quickly, there is training that is required, a lot of effort that is required. This is the time that for all the states to work together, to help each other, to pull each other up, to ensure that notwithstanding the current challenges, the level of aviation safety in the world remains high.
High. I agree with you. And especially this time that you said, the airlines are facing a lot of financial issues. So it's not time to really relax and cut corners. And that puts a lot of burden on civil aviation authorities as well to really oversight, the industry and understand that there could be an issue post-COVID-19.
Yes, certainly. The civil aviation authorities, they have to remain very vigilant and do their work. COVID-19 has really also impacted the civil aviation authority. Before, they cared for flight safety, aviation safety. They cared for aviation security. But now they have to understand also the issues surrounding biosafety. So it's additional work for them. But from all what I see that the regulatory bodies in all the states have taken very good care of all these issues, and they are playing their role. And even though they are under immense pressure as far as resources is concerned, but so far so good. A lot of attention is being paid to not only the flight safety, but not only the security, but the new biosafety protocols that are required to ensure that people remain safe health-wise when they fly.
Right. Dr. Aliu, I think I'm a witness to your tenure at ICAO, and I can say that how much we as civil aviation authorities, or being a former president of Civil Aviation Authority in Saudi Arabia, how much work you put in there, and how everybody, all countries involved in the council, or all countries involved in ICAO, or members of the ICAO, were really doing a fantastic job. As you said, we saw tremendous decrease in aviation accidents in the past few years, which is something we haven't seen in the past, and hopefully it will continue under the new leadership, which we have a lot of faith and trust in. Now, you left ICAO, you finished your tenure at ICAO. I'm sure now you're still very young. You're not going to go and retire and sit on a beach somewhere. So what are you doing now? I see that you have founded an organization, a non-government organization called IPADIS, or I hope I pronounce it right.
Yes.
So can you tell us more about what you're doing, and what is this organization is going to be doing for the aviation industry?
Yes, certainly. After 40 years of aviation, and this is the only thing I do, and we all, Captain Abdulhakim, myself, all our colleagues, we got into this industry because
we love it.
About the industry. That passion is there. We can't do anything about it. You don't just wander into aviation. Once you buy the bug, you can leave. Even if you come from another sector into our industry, people don't go, they leave, because it's so fascinating. It's one of the best things that have happened to mankind from my perspective. So, of course, yes. And there is a lot of work to be done. As you have mentioned, there are things that in my career, and including as president of the council, I focus on those things that I was passionate about. It was important for me to ensure that all countries, all societies and businesses, all economies all over the world enjoy the benefit of air transport, for example. I focused a lot on the issues of sustainability. And before I left, I focused the last 3 years also on the issues of innovation, because I believe that our industry innovation is part of what we do, and it also can benefit the societies, and there are a lot of innovation taking place that we need to appropriate, we need to take in, new things are coming in, and so a lot of attention was focused on that. So leaving the office, I realized that we need to continue that discussion. As president, I didn't have enough, as president of the council, I didn't have enough non-governmental organizations that were really focused at the international level on working with the aviation sector and the civil society to address these issues. So this is the reason why the International Partners for Aviation Development, Innovation, and Sustainability was established. So we're been in operation for about a year now, and we're already doing some good work, I believe, even with the COVID-19 situation. So IPADIS is a not-for-profit organization. It's non-political. It doesn't cater to any interest, and as different from the other organizations that are in existence. We really do not promote the interest of any industry operator. As you will see, IATA is for airlines, ACI is for airports, Council is for air navigation service providers. These are industry organizations. We believe that one thing that was missing is that network, that intersection between our industry and the civil society, for people to understand what we do well, and for us to understand the expectation of the users and the civil society. So our aim is to ensure that at every level, at the international level, at the regional level, at the national level, the policies that are being developed by the aviation industry, the programs that have been implemented, take into account the interest of the traveling public, the interest of the users, the interest of the civil society. In particular, for sustainable development, that aviation continues to contribute to issues of economic development, social progress, and sustainable development globally. So this is the role that IPADIS is trying to play. And so far, so good. We're happy at what we've been able to achieve. The organization is observer organization at ICAO. We have a memorandum of understanding signed with ICAO. We're in collaboration with the European Commission, with the African Union Commission, with the African Civil Aviation Commission, with the Latin American Civil Aviation Commission. So we believe that we can play a role, even under this COVID-19 situation, to find these synergies, to work with the stakeholders to address the issues. And our focus area include, first, of course, aviation development, issues of sustainability, innovation, and social responsibility. Now, if I may take the opportunity of this interview to explain the issue of social responsibility, this is not something that we really have paid a lot of attention to at the intergovernmental level. Not as much, because these are soft issues. But we believe strongly that for the aviation industry to be sustainable over time, it has to be seen by the civil society to be living up to its social responsibility. This is not only in regards to climate change, which is the big budget item, but simple issues of consumer rights protection. The issues of ensuring there is accessibility, that our industry is accessible to people with disability. You know, Captain, that the population now is aging. The best advances in medical has made people to live longer. But there are challenges for the aging population. There are challenges for people that are the deaf community, and people that are blind or medically blind. They face some specific issues, and we believe the disabled passengers, that the environment should be, we should make all things possible to have some global approach, global strategies to ensure that these people are taken care of. But there are also other issues. Youth development is a critical issue. Our industry, before it used to be very competitive, okay, in terms of pay, in terms of, but now people want to go to the Wall Street. They want to do venture capital. They don't want to, so we have to catch them young. So we're going to pay a lot of attention to attracting the youth into our industry to make aviation again exciting to them. There is the issue of gender issues. This is important. We have the global population. Over 50% are women.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over 50% are women. And the industry is male-dominated. There is something wrong there, because it's like we are clapping with one hand and not with the two hands. So we have to get all this, and other social issues like reducing gender discrimination and all that. Right. It's also important our industry should be a tool for the good things, not for the bad things. So human trafficking, trafficking of illicit drugs and all that, things that we believe that the industry should take a second look at these issues, even though we are handling all the big budget items.
Well, Dr. Aliu, I think this is one thing that is so special about you specifically, is you're always thinking out of the box. Okay, what I heard now from your explanation is really some issues that are really being kept, in the back burner in the aviation industry, like the role of women in aviation. Today we see a lot of changes, and even here in Saudi Arabia, you see tremendous change for women, especially in the aviation sector. We see a lot of women working in civil aviation and airlines. We see pilots now, and now we're going to see flight attendants. So it is, I think, about time worldwide to really think about these things and think about the social responsibilities of the aviation sector, because really the aviation sector touches the life of everybody, regardless whether you're rich, you're poor, you're whatever you are. It touches your life. We all travel, and it also we all look up to people in aviation, even especially youngsters, when they see the cockpit, when they see pilots and what have you. So we would like to, I'm really glad to hear that you're approaching these issues from a point of view whereby taking the strength that we have in the aviation industry and really making it play for the betterment of this industry, and especially for kids. I think programs for kids like in high school and even in the beginning of their studies, they should be exposed to aviation through exhibitions, through visits, through somebody to do a lecture for them. There's a lot of beautiful things about our industry, So I really thank you for what you're doing with this new organization. And you're based in Montreal now, correct?
Yes, the organization is based in Montreal, but it's an international organization, and we have relationships all over. Okay. On next month in March, we have a program, for example, for the 15 West African countries to address their challenges related to COVID-19 and how they can build a resilient aviation system for the future, how they can plan to be able to accommodate any crisis that may come. Today is COVID. Tomorrow it may be Ebola.
Something else. Yeah.
It may be something else. Nobody knows. But the system should be resilient. I have in the board of IPADIS the former president of the ICAO Council, my predecessor, Mr. Robert Kobe, who handles Latin American issues, the former Secretary General, who Raymond Benjamin had our relationship in Europe. The former Minister of Aviation of Egypt, our friend
Mr. Sharif, yes.
Sharif for the Middle East. So like that, the organization is going to grow. And we believe all the challenges, aviation is an international network, and all the countries need a lot of support. And that is why we are collaborating with all the various regional organizations.
And how do you get financed? I mean, how do you,
Yeah, like any NGO, we depend on our memberships, and grants and donations from sponsors. But the organization is new. So far, of course, I'm very grateful to all the members of the organization so far. And because of our goodwill, there are a lot of volunteers that are working, doing a lot of very important things.
Right. And the donations, the memberships, is it individual memberships or organization memberships? How are you doing it?
It's individual and organizations.
Okay.
So from the aviation sector, from the tourism sector, from academia, from the businesses, everybody is welcome. Of course, like I said, we want to ensure that we all share the common vision for aviation development, for issues of sustainability, for issues of innovation, for the social responsibility issues. But the organization are not promoting the interest of any
specific sector, yes, or government. Yes. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So do you have a website that we also can put on the screen here later on?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Visit www.ipadis.org.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Aliu, really, it's been an honor to really speak with you and see how you're doing, and really learn from you what you think about this crisis. I hope next time we talk, it's going to be about better things than this COVID-19. We really, on behalf of my colleagues in the industry that knew that I was going to interview you, we thank you so much for what you have done in the past years as the president of the Council of ICAO. And from us, you can count on our support, whatever we can do to help this new organization, because like you, we love this industry and we would like to contribute any way we can. So thank you so much for accepting my invitation for this interview, and hopefully we'll see you soon as well.
Well, Captain Abdulhakim, my friend, let me say this: I'm really excited about what you're doing and the passion you are putting into the industry. I used to know a captain and then the administrator of GACA.
Yeah.
Now you are a media personality.
Not really a media personality, but anything that I can do really to show
so I
aviation
start,
the nice things.
well done, my friend, and I think the fact that you also continue to contribute to the industry is a very, very pleasant thing. And I wish you all the best. Next time we speak, it will be in person, inshallah.
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you, Dr. Aliu. And my best regards to your wife and the family. Thank you so much.
Same to you. Same to you.
Take care. Take care. Bye-bye.